Hey everyone, I'm Mike from theparkprodigy.com, and on today's video we're going to break down and we are going to rank the best rides and attractions over at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And of course, Hollywood Studios has some of the most popular attractions in all of Walt Disney World. It really is a quality over quantity type of situation, and that's why if you are in the process of planning a Disney trip and you're unsure of what the rides are like over in this park, that's why a video like this hopefully will be very, very helpful for you and your family as you plan the rest of your vacation. But we're going to have some fun with it, and we are going to, maybe I might surprise you guys in the top three. Maybe I won't. Who knows? You're just going to have to stick around until the end of this video. So if you are in the process of planning a Disney trip, like I said, just be sure to stick around. But without any further ado, let's go get started. Thank you again so much for checking out this video. Like I said, we are about to break down and rank the best attractions in Disney's Hollywood Studios. And if you are in the process of planning that Disney trip and you do need more additional videos like this, just be sure to hit that subscribe button. But we have 12 kind of rides and attractions in total that we're going to rank. And we're going to jump right in. We're going to start with number 12. And we do have Disney Junior Play and Dance. So this is a live interactive show featuring characters from Disney Junior, encouraging young guests to sing, dance, and play along. And we thought it was important to include this on our list just because specifically when it gets to Hollywood Studios, families with young kids, you'll see you do have to do a very, very good mix between rides and shows, and we think this was something that was just very, very important to include on our list. From a height requirement standpoint, there is no minimum height requirement, and from a thrill rating factor standpoint, we do have a 0 out of 10. Over to number 11, and we do have Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. This is a live action stunt show recreating scenes from the Indiana Jones film, featuring daring stunts, special effects, and audience participation as well. And again, one of the things that we love about this show is really just because of that audience participation. I've been with friends that they've been selected to go up into the audience, right? So you really don't know what you're gonna get with every show, and I think that's one of the things that we love about this show as well. So from a height requirement standpoint, because it is a quote-unquote show, there is no minimum height requirement. And then from a thrill rating factor standpoint, again, we have a 0 out of 10. Over to number 10, and we do have Alien Swirling Saucers. So this is a spinning ride themed around Toy Story's Little Green Aliens. Guests ride in a toy saucer that whirls and twirls. So from a height requirement standpoint, we do have a minimum height requirement of 32 inches or taller, and then from a thrill rating factor standpoint, just because you're kind of being whipped around a little bit, we do have a 3 out of 10. So over to number 9, and this might be controversial to some people, but we do have Muppet Vision 3D. This is a 3D film and live action show featuring the Muppets. The show combines 3D effects with in-theater practical effects for a comedic and immersive experience. I think from a nostalgia standpoint, this is just one of those rides that it's like quintessential Disney's Hollywood Studios, especially if you remember visiting this ride back in the 90s. From a height requirement standpoint, we don't have any minimum height requirements. And then from a thrill rating factor standpoint, not very thrilling. We do have a thrill rating factor standpoint of 1 out of 10. Over to number 8, and we do have Star Tours The Adventure Continues. So this is a 3D motion simulated space flight attraction set in the Star Wars universe. Guests embark on a turbulent journey through various Star Wars destinations. I used to love this ride growing up. I will say one of the things to be mindful of, if you are prone to motion sickness, this ride can have a negative impact, unfortunately. And for that reason, I really wish I would have been, in a perfect world, of course, you keep this ride a little bit higher on the list, but at this point in time, it's kind of landing in at number 8. From a height requirement standpoint, we do have a minimum height requirement of 40 inches or taller. And then from a thrill rating factor standpoint, we are in at a 5 out of 10. Again, just because it's going to give you that kind of motion simulation that you are really moving around. Okay, in at number 7, and we do have Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, one of the new attractions in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. This is a simulator ride that puts guests in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. Participants take on different roles as the ship's crew. And again, same thing kind of here. Unfortunately, we have 2 Star Wars rides back to back. If you're prone to motion sickness, be mindful going into this ride. I will say I don't get thrown off as much on Smuggler's Run as I do on Star Tours. So that's important to keep in mind. I also think, as from a Star Wars fan standpoint, the queue here is just so well done. It is legit the Millennium Falcon. So I do think there's something so cool about that. From a height requirement standpoint, we do have a minimum height requirement of 38 inches or taller. And then from a thrill rating factor standpoint, we're in again at a 5 out of 10. Over to number 6, and we have Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So this is a new ride featuring Mickey Mouse and friends. It takes guests on an adventure through various cartoon settings. Now, this ride did replace the very, very popular Great Movie Ride, which it did take me a while to kind of come around to this ride. But I do think this ride is very, very charming, and I do think the technology is very, very cool. And again, it's in my opinion, you can't miss this ride if you go to Disney Hollywood Studios. From a height requirement standpoint, there are no minimum height requirements. And then from a thrill rating factor standpoint, it's kind of moving you around a little bit. So we do have a thrill rating factor of a 3 out of 10. Okay, in at number 5, and this is such a fun ride, and that is Toy Story Mania, which is an interactive gameplay ride where you can challenge your family by aiming at targets along with the Toy Story gang. It's the same thing. Like I said, this is more of an arcade style ride. Such a fun ride. You do have to wear 3D glasses, so it's important to keep that in mind. However, if you've been to Hollywood Studios, especially back in the day when this ride first came out, you remember that the wait times for this ride were absolutely insane, and rightfully so, just because it was such, at that point in time, it was just so new, and the gaming aspect, of course, is just so much fun. From a height requirement standpoint, we don't have a minimum height requirement. From a thrill rating factor standpoint, we are in at 2 out of 10. And be sure to come back and let me know in the comment section who got the highest score and what your highest score was. Over to number 4, and we do have Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith. So this is a high-speed indoor roller coaster with inversions and a rock and roll theme. And it's important to note that this coaster does go upside down. And this ride, I really do, again, from a nostalgia standpoint, I really love everything about this ride. It was one of the first roller coasters I ever went on that kind of went upside down. So it was a big deal for me as a kid. Disney, and there's been rumors of their rebooting it, without Aerosmith, keeping Aerosmith. So I can't speak to that. But I will say that, again, this is a very, very fun roller coaster. From a height requirement standpoint, though, because it is a roller coaster, it does have a minimum height requirement of 48 inches or taller. And then from a thrill rating standpoint, it is very thrilling, in at an 8 out of 10. Okay, so in at number 3, and we do have Slinky Dog Dash. And yes, that might surprise a lot of people because this is one of the most popular rides within the park. From a wait time standpoint, it's one of the most popular rides in the park. And then from a Disney Genie Plus standpoint, it is the most popular ride in the park, as it is really, really difficult to get a Disney Genie Plus selection for Slinky Dog Dash. So this is a family-friendly roller coaster themed around Toy Story's Slinky Dog. It features twists, turns, and a dash of exhilaration. This is, like I said, one of the most popular rides in the park and will have the longest wait time. I do think Disney did a really, really great job with the theming of this ride. And I think the coolest thing about this is it really is a great, kind of starting roller coasters for the kids, right? So I think there's that aspect as well, which is one of the main reasons why it's so popular and the reason why it has such a long wait time. There is a minimum height requirement for Slinky Dog Dash. It is 38 inches or taller, and from a thrill rating factor standpoint, we are going to be in at 5 out of 10. Okay, so if Slinky Dog is in at number 3, moving over to number 2, and we have Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. So this is a drop tower dark ride inspired by the Twilight Zone TV series. This offers a thrilling freefall experience with randomized drops, and same thing like Slinky Dog. The theming of this ride is top notch, and one of the things that I really love about this ride is it's not Disney IPs, right? So, and especially if you have been to Hollywood Studios back in the day, the nostalgia aspect, this is kind of prime time when Disney was doing a really good job of bringing stuff into the parks that wasn't typically what we would see on, the latest TV show or, classic Disney movies. And I really enjoy that. And the theming also, the haunted, old school type of hotel style theming, everything about the theming I love. Same thing from a thrill rating factor standpoint. I think, especially as you're taking your kids on this will be one of the first rides that they might go on that, has a drop, right? So there's just that really cool aspect as well of doing this together as a family. From a height requirement standpoint, we do have a minimum height requirement of 40 inches or taller. And then from a thrill rating standpoint, we are going to be in at a 7 out of 10 for the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Okay, so in at number 1, and of course we do have the very, very popular Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. Now this is an immersive dark ride set in the Star Wars universe, combining multiple ride systems and storytelling elements. This is one of the best and most immersive rides in all of Walt Disney World, not just in Hollywood Studios. And in my honest opinion, you really don't have to be a Star Wars fan to enjoy it. One of the other things that I love about this ride, and the reason why it's in at number 1, is that in total, I mean, this is about a 20-minute experience, right? So I think, it is. So I will say you do have to wait a long time, especially if you're not going and upgrading to an individual lightning lane. But with that, I do feel like you get such an immersive experience from this ride. From a height requirement standpoint, minimum height requirement here is 40 inches or taller. From a thrill rating factor standpoint, you are going to be moved around. You're going to be kind of brought up to different levels of the ride. Can't really even, I'm not going to ruin the ride for you, but from a thrill rating factor standpoint, we are in at a 5 out of 10. And that is the list, everyone. That is the best rides and attractions over in Disney's Hollywood Studios. I guess I'll say as a bonus, don't miss Fantasmic. We didn't include Fantasmic on this list just because it is the quote-unquote nighttime show. Don't miss Fantasmic. I think Fantasmic is a must-do, especially for the kind of quintessential perfect Disney Hollywood Studios day. But that is really it. That is the list of the best rides over in Disney's Hollywood Studios. And like I said, if you are in the process of planning a Disney World trip and you do need a little additional help, just be sure to go check out our website, theparkprodigy.com. And as a thank you for sticking around all the way till the end of this video, I do have a special promo code that you can go use on our website for discounted Disney World tickets or a discounted Disney World hotel and ticket package, whatever your heart desires. That promo code is going to be YouTube25. But I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you all again so much for checking out this video. And until next time, I will talk to you soon.